Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudkirye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 10. The trunk, branches and sub-branches of the Chaitanya tree. Text 119 onwards. Bhagavatacharya Chiranjiva Shri Raghunandan Madhvacharya Kamalakanta Shri Yadunandan Bhagavatacharya Chiranjiva Shri Raghunandan Madhvacharya Kamalakanta and Shri Yadunandan were all among the branches of the Chaitanya tree. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, Shri Madhvacharya was the husband of Lord Nityananda's daughter. So this is different from Madhvacharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. He took initiation from Purushottam, a branch of Nityananda Prabhu. It is said that when Nityananda Prabhu's daughter married Madhvacharya, the Lord gave him the village named Panji Nagar as a dowry. Madhvacharya's temple is situated near the Jirat railway station on the Eastern Railway. According to the Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, Sri Madhvacharya was formerly the gopi named Madhvi. Kamalakanta belonged to the branch of Sri Advaita Prabhu. His full name was Kamalakant Vishwas. Mahakripa Patra Prabhu Jagai Madhai Patita Pavana Namer Sakshidui Bhai. Jagai and Madhai, the 89th and 90th branches of the tree, were the greatest recipient of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. These two brothers were the witnesses who proved that Lord Chaitanya was rightly named Patit Pavan, the deliverer of the fallen souls. In the Gaur Gaudandesh Deepika, it is said that the two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, were formerly the doorkeepers named Jai and Vijay, who later became Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Jagai and Madhai were born in respectable Brahmin families, but they adopted the professions of thieves and rogues, and thus became implicated in all kinds of undesirable activities, especially women hunting, intoxication, and gambling. Later, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, they were initiated, and they got the chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. As a result of chanting, both brothers became exalted devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The descendants of Madhai still exist, and they're respectable Brahmins. The tombs of these two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, are in a place known as Goshat or Madhai Tala Gram, which is situated about 1 mile south of Katwa. It is said that Shri Gopi Charan Das Babaji established a temple of Nitai Gaur at this place about 250 years ago. So Jagai and Madhai, of course, we'll read about them later. Probably not in this Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, they're described in much detail. So what had happened, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was doing Sankirtan at Shrivasangam, so he said, okay, nighttime we are doing Sankirtan, daytime you should go out and preach. Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. So Nityanand Prabhu is Balramji, Haridas Thakur is Brahmaji. And Mahaprabhu said, okay, you two team together and go out and preach. Tell people to chant the holy names of Krishna. Okay. So they would go every day to different houses. And when they would come back, they would give report to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of their preaching. And even at that time, even though Nityanand Prabhu himself was there, and Haridas Thakur, he was elder and he was most respected person, because they all knew he's such a humble soul, he's always chanting. Still, people would not that everybody received them favorably. Sometimes they receive them. Sometimes they won't even open the door of their houses when these two guys go and knock on the door. Sometimes they would open the door and then they would say, "Get out of here! Go, run away! You are like a group of thieves, and you're coming in the daytime to look what we have in our house, or at night time your other buddies will come and steal stuff. So get out of here." And they would, from these houses, they would come out laughing. Look at these guys. There's so much in illusion. And Haridas Thakur, when they would come back, Haridas Thakur would talk to Advaita Acharya, and he would tell him, "Do you know what it is like to be in the team with Nityanand Prabhu?" Advaita Acharya would ask, what happened? He said, "What he does, because he's Avadhuta, he's completely in love of Krishna and Gauranga. He wouldn't follow any rules. So what he would do, if he sees any young girl carrying some food item or some sweet, he would tell her, 'Okay, give me the sweet,' or tell her, 'You should marry me.' And then the girl would cry, and then she would scream, and her brothers, her father would come out, and Nityanand is younger than me. He would run away, and they would catch me, and sometimes they beat me up. And I have to beg them, no, I didn't do anything. He's the one who did everything.' And sometimes he would go to any house or give me something to eat, and they wouldn't give him, and then he would create mess over there, and then he would run away, and then I have to run with him, but he's faster. I'm always in trouble and always in anxiety. What is he's going to do next? What kind of preaching he does? And Advaita Acharya would laugh and laugh, because this was Nityanand Prabhu's way of giving his mercy. So one day, Nityanand Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, they were preaching, and they saw some crowd was there and commotion was going on. Nityanand Prabhu said, let's check it out, what's happening. And when they went inside the crowd, they saw these two brothers, Jagai and Madhai. Huge bodies. They were very strongly built, and they were drunk, completely drunk, and they were creating ruckus all over. And Prabhupada here only mentions all kinds of undesirable activities, especially women hunting, intoxication, and gambling. Not just that. They would steal things from the houses of people. They would burglarize their houses. They would put fire on the houses of people and throw people away. They would do all sorts of things. And they were so strong, so big, even police would not come and arrest them. They were helpless. So people were just scared of Jagai and Madhai. And Nityanand Prabhu told Haridas Thakur that if these two brothers chant the holy names of Krishna, then the glories of our Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spread far and wide. And Haridas Thakur, no, these two brothers look very dangerous, so no need to go near them. There's so many other people in Navadvip, we can preach. No, these two brothers. So Nityanand Prabhu went to them, and very humbly he folded his hands. Oh, my brothers, please chant the holy names of Krishna. And Jagai, Madhai, they were drunk, and when they saw Nityanand Prabhu coming like this, and they said, "What? Chant the names of Krishna? We're going to beat you." And they picked up whatever they got in their hands, and they ran after Nityanand Prabhu. And he said, Haridas Thakur, Nityanand Prabhu and I had to run away from them. And these two brothers ran for a while, but because of drinking, their bodies were very big, they were heavy, they could not run, and they just stood there and they were beating each other and kind of telling us, you come back and we're going to beat you. So at night, they would give this preaching report to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, when he heard that, then he said, Nitai, if you have made up your mind to give mercy to these two brothers, definitely, very soon they will be among our Kirtan party. So few days passed by, and Jagai and Madhai, what they would do, they would keep on changing their camps. So this day they had put their camp near Ganges, but close to Srivas Angan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to take bath in the Ganges, and these two brothers saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they said, "Oh, you are Nimai. We have heard about you. You are Nimai, and you sing and dance very nicely. Why don't you sing and dance over here?" And Mahaprabhu was, "I don't even want to look at your faces. I'm going away." So Mahaprabhu came back. And then Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, when they saw Jagai Madhai, Nityanand Prabhu again went and he begged with folded hands. Can we imagine? As Balramji, he never folded hands to anybody. And here, Jagai and Madhai, Nityanand Prabhu went, please chant the names of Krishna. And Madhai, when he saw Nityanand Prabhu, Nitai like this, and he got very angry. Why you're coming and disturbing us? And he picked up a pot full, either full of wine or it was empty, but that's what it was used for. It was a very solid pot. It wasn't just like surai that we use, a matka that we use. It was a solid pot, and he picked it up in full force. He hit it on Nityanand Prabhu's head. And Nityanand Prabhu, although he is spiritual body made of Satchitananda, but to increase the mood of the pastime, he showed blood coming out of his forehead. But he was still begging. He said, okay, my brother, whether you hit me, it's okay, but please chant the names of Krishna. And Madhai got more angry. He said, what are you still not understanding? I'm going to kill you. He again picked up another pot. And he was going to beat Nityanand Prabhu again, but Jagai stopped him. He said, no, see, he is bleeding and he's still begging you. So he is a very saintly person. Don't do this. But meanwhile, devotees over there, they ran towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and told him that Madhai has hit Nitai, Nityanand Prabhu, please come on the scene. And Mahaprabhu came running. And he saw Nityanand Prabhu is begging them to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna's name, and Madhai and Jagai, they were drunk and very angry, and Nitai is bleeding, and Mahaprabhu could not take that. He came there running and he called his Sudarshan Chakra, Chakra, come, I'm going to kill these two brothers right away. And Chakra appeared right away. And obviously, after seeing Chakra in the hands of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the intoxication, all the nasha went away from Jagai and Madhai. So what is this? This is our last day. But Nityanand Prabhu fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, begging him, please, you have, in this incarnation, you are not going to kill anybody. Please send Chakra back. I am begging you. And Jagai and Madhai, they also saw Chakra, they fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu sent Chakra back. And devotees told him that when Madhai was going to hit Nitai again, Jagai stopped him. He protected Nityanand Prabhu. So Mahaprabhu was very happy with Jagai. Oh, you saved my Nitai? I'm very pleased with you. I'm very grateful to you. Ask for something. And Jagai said, with folded hands and crying, and he said, please give me Krishna Prem. Please give me devotion to Krishna. Mahaprabhu said, granted, I give you devotion. And then Madhai, he fell down at Lord Chaitanya's feet. He said, whatever sins committed with two brothers, we were equally involved. How come you gave him Krishna Prem and you haven't given me anything? Please, I'm also begging you. No, no, you hit my Nitai. How dare you hit my Nitai and make him bleed? So you beg for forgiveness from Nityanand Prabhu first. And if he forgives you, I'll give you Krishna. So before Madhai could even fall at the feet of Nityanand Prabhu got him in between. He said, I forgive you, I forgive you. I give you all my blessings. And then he fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You both of you have Krishna Prem. Now give up all these sinful activities and join the Kirtan. So they came to the house of Shrivas Thakur. And Mahaprabhu said, so I forgive you and you give up all these sinful activities. And Kirtan was starting. And then everybody saw Mahaprabhu's body became black. And they were astonished, what is happening? And then the Kirtan started. Jagai Madhai started to dance, and Mahaprabhu started to dance, and his body became golden again. So basically it was, he had taken all the sins of Jagai and Madhai, and he just powdered them and threw it away. So in the meantime, I think I had told this incident before. Meantime, what happened? Now, in the Kirtan, whenever Mahaprabhu had Kirtan, demigods would appear in the sky. But on this particular day, when Jagai and Madhai, they were relieved of all the sins and they were given Krishna Prem by Mahaprabhu. So Yamaraj was there in the sky with his assistant Chitragupta. And when Mahaprabhu's body became black, Yamaraj asked Chitragupta, what happened here? What kind of sins these two brothers commit? Chitragupta said, these two brothers had committed so many sins and so many different kinds of sins and different grades of sins that I had to keep a special team to just keep track of their sins. And my special team, they were exhausted keeping track. 24 hours a day, these guys were committing sins. And my team was at the verge of because of exhaustion, they were at the verge of quitting or committing suicide. They cannot work on these two guys anymore. So they had the sins that they had, it like a mountain of records. But then Yamaraj, wow, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He just crushed that mountain in little grain of sand and just threw it away. All the sins are completely gone. And hearing this, Yamaraj started to dance in the Kirtan, raising his hand. He jumped out from his Bhansa male buffalo and he started to dance. They were all up in the sky, but they could dance. And seeing him, other demigods came and they were dancing because Yamaraj was dancing and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing. They were also dancing in jubilation. Narad Muni came. Narad Muni, when he heard this glories of Chaitanya, he started to dance. He was so jubilant, so ecstatic. He didn't even know where his veena went and he started to dance. Shivji came when he heard the glories of Mahaprabhu, the mercy of Mahaprabhu. He started to dance in the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He got up from Nandi and he didn't know where his Damru was. Brahmaji came, he started to dance. Everybody was dancing in the Kirtan. Understanding how merciful Mahaprabhu is. Even Krishna is not that merciful. Although Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is no difference, but just the difference of the mood. So So then Jagai and Madhai, they fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord, asking him, what's the instruction for us? Because now they were repentant because all the sins that they had committed. There was one issue that was mentioned was they had never committed a Vaishnava offense. They committed the sins, yes, but never committed a Vaishnava offense, except when they hit Nitai and made him bleed. But Nityanand Prabhu forgave them. So Mahaprabhu told them, you make a ghat on the bank of Ganges, and whoever comes to that ghat, you serve him. You beg for forgiveness. You bathe him, help him in whichever way. And if they beat you up, if they throw rocks at you because of their old grudge, just tolerate it. Okay. So this is what they did in, as it is said in Katwa, there's a tomb is made and a temple is made about 1 mile south of Katwa. So that is where they made a ghat. And whoever would come, they would serve him. Well, in the beginning, people were scared because the reputation of these brothers were like that. But slowly, people started to come, and they saw how these two brothers has changed. Their behavior had changed, their outlook had changed. They were serving everybody. And yeah, as Mahaprabhu said, many times people came because they were really holding grudge for what these brothers had done to them, to their families. And they would throw rocks at them, slap them, abuse them. But Jagai and Madhai, very humbly, where they would ask for forgiveness, beg at the lotus feet, and try to serve them. And this is how they lived for the rest of their lives. This is the glories of Mahaprabhu. How he transformed their hearts. Krishna, in his pastime, he killed so many demons. So many. The whole war of Mahabharata was orchestrated because he didn't want to go to every part of the world to find and kill the demons. So he brought all of them in Kurukshetra and killed them all. But Mahaprabhu, he didn't kill anybody. And that's why he's more merciful, more munificent. And not just not kill anybody, he gave them Krishna prema. That is even higher. One thing is to forgive someone. One thing is to give him topmost. Golokera premadana harinam. This is what. That's why once Srila Prabhupada, he had come to Atlanta Temple. Atlanta Temple is, the main deities are God Nitai. On one side is Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, one side is Radha Krishna. Main deities are God Nitai. And the temple is called New Panihati. So Prabhupada had come there and he was going to give lecture. And Bhagavatam lecture, and he looked at Gaur Nitai. He had just come back from Mexico. Just completed his tour and he came to Atlanta. And normally in the lecture we sing Jai Radha Madhava, right? And before the lecture. But he started to sing Param Karuna Pahu Duijan, Nitai Gaurachan. Param Karuna. These two brothers, they're just full of karuna, compassion, and this is what they're distributing everywhere. And he started to sing, looking at Gaur Nitai, and he started to cry. He went into ecstasy. Prabhupada went into ecstasy. He just sang for a while and he just kept silent. understanding the mercy of Chaitanya Prabhu and Nityananda. And that's why Prabhupada, wherever, whatever temples he established, and even now ISKCON, he always established the deities of God Nitai. Radha Krishna also, Jagannath ji also, but always God Nitai. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, when he established, uh, Gaur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna together, one order, because of the Maha. But Prabhupada, he established Gaur Nitai separately from Radha and Krishna because he knew that Western countries, not just Western, all over the world actually, we do need mercy of Nityananda Prabhu before we can get mercy of Chaitanya. We are so fallen. Without the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, we cannot make it. So this was Prabhupada's meaning. And from the story of Jagai and Madhai, it is more clear. And actually it is said Madhai because he got mercy of Nityananda Prabhu when he begged, and then he got mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he got more mercy and more love for Krishna than Jagai. Of course, that doesn't mean tomorrow we get up and go to the temple and start eating Gaur Nitai. That's not the purpose. Purpose is understand the mercy and chant lovingly with dedication and devotion. And we'll get the mercy of God. Get the mercy of Guru Parampara. And then definitely Radha Krishna mercy, Radha Krishna prem will appear in our heart. And this is what Gaur Nitai is. Gauda Desha Bhaktir Kela Sankshepa Katham Ananta Chaitanya Bhakta Nayaya Ganam. I have given a brief description of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya in Bengal. Actually, his devotees are innumerable. Neela Chale Sab Bhakta Prabhu Sange Dui Sthane Prabhu Seva Kaila Nana Range. I've especially mentioned all these devotees because they accompanied Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal and Odisha and served him in many ways. Most of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya lived in Bengal and Odisha. Thus, they are celebrated as Gaudiyas and Puriyas. At present, however, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his cult is being propagated all over the world, and it is most probable that in the future history of Lord Chaitanya's movement, Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Australians, South Americans, Asians, and people from all over the world will be celebrated as devotees of Lord Chaitanya. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already constructed a big temple at Mayapur, Navadvip, which is being visited by devotees from all parts of the world, as foretold by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and anticipated by Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Prabhupada said, as anticipated by Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So there is a place right across the Ganges from our Mayapur temple, Surabhi Kunj, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to live. And in that place, his son, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and all other saints also used to come and sit over there, discuss Krishna Katha, and have prasadam, have kirtan. So from that place, once Bhaktivinoda Thakur was looking towards where our ISKCON Mayapur is, and he saw light coming from the ground and going up. Big light, huge light. So at that time, there was no electricity in that area. So then he told his followers that very soon there will be A huge temple will be built here for the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, anybody who helps in building of that temple, I'll personally come and take him back to God and to spiritual world with me. Of course, Prabhupada says ISKCON has already constructed a big temple at Mayapur, but even a bigger temple is being constructed, much bigger temple is being constructed there. And I was reading in October this year, they're going to shift Lord Nrsimhadev first. And probably next year, they're going to bring the rest of deities, Panchtattva and Radha Madhav and Ashtasakhis. So this was foretold by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said the same thing. A big temple will be constructed here. केवल नीला चले प्रभु हृदय भक्त गान संक्षेपे करिए किछु से सब कथान. Let me briefly describe some of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. नीला चले प्रभु संगे यत भक्त गान सबार अध्यक्ष प्रभुर मर्म दुई जान. परमानंद पुरियार स्वरूप दामोदर जगदाधर जगदानंद शंकर वक्रेश्वर. दामोदर पंडित ठाकुर हरिदास रघुनाथ वैद्य रघुनाथ दास. Among the devotees who accompanied the Lord in Jagannath Puri, two of them, Parmanand Puri and Sarup Damodar, were the heart and soul of the Lord. Among the other devotees were Gadadhar, Jagadanand, Shankar, Vakreshwar, Damodar Pandit, Thakur Haridas, Raghunath Vaidya, and Raghunath Das. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antekhanda, chapter 5 states that Raghunath Vaidya came to see Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when the Lord was staying at Panihati. He was a great devotee and had all good qualities. According to Chaitanya Bhagavat, he was formerly Revati, the wife of Balaram. Anyone he glanced upon would immediately attain Krishna consciousness. He lived on the seashore at Jagannath Puri and compiled a book of the name Sthan Nirupana. Ityadika Purva Shangi Vada Bhakta Gana Nila Chale Rahi Kare Prabhu Raseva. All these devotees were associates of the Lord from the very beginning. And when the Lord took up residence in Jagannath Puri, they remained there to serve him faithfully. Arjat Bhaktagan Goda Deshavasi Pratyabde Prabhure Dekhe Nila Chale Asi. All the devotees who resided in Bengal used to visit Jagannath Puri every year to see the Lord. Nila Chale Prabhu Saha Prathama Milana Sei Bhakta Gane Rebe Kariye Gana. Now let me enumerate the devotees of Bengal who first came to see the Lord at Jagannath Puri. Bada Shakha Eka Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Tara Bhagnipati Shri Gopinath Acharya. There was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, one of the greatest branches of the tree of the Lord, and his sister's husband, Shri Gopinath Acharya. Tar Bhagnipati, his brother-in-law, so his sister's husband. The original name of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was Vasudev Bhattacharya. His place of birth, which is known as Vidyanagar, is about 2.5 miles away from the Navdev railway station or Champahati railway station. His father was a very much celebrated man of the name Maheshwara Visharad. It is said that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the greatest logician of his time in India. So greatest logician means he knew the scriptures and he could make out the meaning of Sanskrit verses and debate with anybody on scriptures. At Mithila in Bihar, he became a student of a great professor named Pakshadhar Mishra, who did not allow any student to note down his explanations of logic. Can we believe that? It's only 500 some years ago. So no writing down. You have to remember everything and you have to understand the logic. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so talented, however, that he learned the explanations by heart. And when he later returned to Navadvip, he established a school for the study of logic, thus diminishing the importance of Mithila. So, what kind of teachers were there? Students from various parts of India still come to Navadvip to study logic. According to some authoritative opinions, the celebrated logician Raghunath Shiromani was also a student of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. In effect, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became the leader of all students of logic. Although he was a grihastha householder, he even taught many sannyasis in the knowledge of logic. He started a school at Jagannath Puri for the study of Vedanta philosophy, of which he was a great scholar. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he advised the Lord to learn Vedanta philosophy from him. But later, he became a student of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand the real meaning of Vedanta. So later he became a student. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so fortunate as to see the six-armed form of Lord Chaitanya known as Shadbhuja. A Shadbhuja deity is still situated at one end of the Jagannath temple. So Shadbhuja, six-armed form. So two arms were playing on the flute as Krishna, two arms carried bow and arrow as Lord Ram, and two armed carry Kamandal and Danda as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu showed him, all these incarnations are within me only. Daily Sankirtan performances take place in this part of the temple. The meeting of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is vividly described in Adi Lila, chapter 6. So when we get to that, we'll study that more. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote a book of 100 verses named Chaitanya Shatak, Osu Shloka Shatak. So he wrote 100 verses to glorify Lord Chaitanya. Two other verses he wrote, beginning with the words Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga and Kala Nashtam Bhakti Yogam Nijam Ya, are very famous among Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The Gaur Ganadesh Deepika states that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an incarnation of Brihaspati, the learned scholar from the celestial planets. Not an ordinary person. Gopinath Acharya, who belonged to a respectable Brahmin family, was also an inhabitant of Navadvip and a constant companion of the Lord. He was the husband of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's sister. In Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, it is described that he was formerly the Gopi named Ratnavali. According to opinions of others, he was an incarnation of Brahma. So, Brahmaji can come two ways, Haridas Thakur and Gopinath Acharya. Or it could be combined incarnation of Brahmaji and Ratnavali Gopi. Kashi Mishra, Pradyumna Mishra, Rai Bhavananda, Yahara Milane Prabhu Pailananda. In the list of devotees at Jagannath Puri, which begins with Parvanand Puri, Swarup Damodar, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Gopinath Acharya, Kashi Mishra was the fifth, Pradyumna Mishra the sixth, and Bhavanand Rai the seventh. Lord Chaitanya took great pleasure in meeting with them. In Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya lived at the house of Kashi Mishra, who was the priest of the king. Later, this house was inherited by Vakreshwar Pandit and then by his disciple Gopal Guru Goswami, who established a deity of Radhakanta there. The Gaur Ganadesh Deepika states that Kashi Mishra was formerly Kubja in Mathura. Pradyumna Mishra, an inhabitant of Odisha, was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Pradyumna Mishra was born of a Brahmin family and Ramanand Rai of a non-Brahmin family. Yet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Pradyumna Mishra to take instructions from Ramanand Rai. This incident is described in the Anta Lila, chapter 5. So Pradyumna Mishra He had once come to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to know meanings of Vedas, what the Vedas teach. So Mahaprabhu wanted to give him some other lesson first. He asked him, go to Ramanand Rai and he will teach you. So Pradyumna Mishra went to Ramanand Rai. And Ramanand Rai, although it's Vishakha Sakhi, but in this, he was a Kayasth, not a Brahman. Now, if you look at the caste, then yes, he was lower than a Brahman. At first, Pradyumna Mishra was very hesitant. But Mahaprabhu said, no, go to him. He'll teach you. And when he came to see Ramanand Rai, as we studied earlier, if you remember, Raman Rai was preparing some girls to play part in this drama on Lord Jagannath. And he was so absorbed. He wanted the girls, young girls, teenage girls, to play the part so perfectly that he himself was bathing those girls, putting on different oils and dressing them, doing their makeup. He's doing it himself. So Pradyumna Mishra, first day when he saw this, he was waiting, and he saw that, he came back in the evening and he went to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, okay, what did you learn? Well, I didn't learn anything. He was busy in doing all these activities. Mahaprabhu said, okay, just go next day again. So next day again he went, and again Ramanand Rai was busy, although they did talk a little. Then Pradyumna Mishra understood what Mahaprabhu wanted him to see. The bhav, or the devotion of Ramanand Rai was so pure. Even though he was touching the bodies of all these girls, he was not at all disturbed. And this is when one becomes ready to understand the scriptures. One cannot understand if he gets disturbed by some lusty feelings. But Ramanand Rai is above all this. Then it is Bhavanand Rai. Bhavanand Rai was the father of Sri Ramanand Rai. His residence was in Alalat, Brahmagiri, which is about 12 miles west of Jagannath Puri. By caste, he belongs to the Karan community of Orissa, whose members were sometimes known as Kayasthas and sometimes as Shudras. His son Ramanand Rai was the governor of Madras under the control of King Prataprudra of Jagannath Puri. And this village, or this house, is still there when we go from Jagannath Puri to Alalnath. And there is kept a sword, talwar of Ramanand Rai, because he was the governor of Madras. And he came back, he retired and he came to this place and he stayed there. So we can still go and take darshan of this talwar. And I heard recently Radha Prabhu and Abhishek Prabhu was there, and they said they are going to install the deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this Ramanand Rai, and they both are talking to each other. There's a beautiful conversation that happened. We'll come to study that, and hopefully when we go to Jagannath Puri this year, we can take darshan. Alingan kari tare bali lavachan, tumi pandu panch pandav tomara nandan. Embracing Rai Bhavanam, the Lord declared to him, you formerly appeared as Pandu, and your 5 sons appeared as 5 Pandavas. Ramanand Rai Pat Nayak Gopinath, Kala Nidhi Sudha Nidhi Nayak Vaninath. The 5 sons of Bhavanand Rai were Ramanand Rai, Patanayak, Gopinath, Kalanidhi, Sudhanidhi, and Nayak Vaninath. So Ramanand Rai, as we know, it's Vishakha, but some say he also combined incarnation of Arjun and Vishakha. Ei Pancha Putra Tomar Mor Priya Patra, Ramananda Saha Mor Deha Bheda Matra. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Bhavanand Rai, your 5 sons are all my dear devotees. Ramanand Rai and I are one, although our bodies are different. Gaur Konandesh Deepika states that Ramanand Rai was formerly Arjun. He is also considered to have been an incarnation of Gopi Lalita. Although in the opinion of others, he was an incarnation of Vishakha Devi. He was a most confidential devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, although I am a sannyasi, my mind is sometimes perturbed when I see a woman. But Ramanand Rai is greater than me, for he is always undisturbed, even when he touches a woman. Only Ramanand Rai was endowed with the prerogative to touch a woman in this way. No one should imitate him. Unfortunately, there are rascals, Prabha, that's our Prabha, who imitate the activities of Ramanand Rai. We need not discuss them further. In Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's final pastimes, Ramanand Rai and Swarup Damodar always engaged in reciting suitable verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and other books to pacify the Lord's ecstatic feelings of separation from Krishna. So Ramanand Rai, as it said, Vishakha, and Swarup Damodar Goswami was Lalita Sakhi. When Lord Chaitanya went to southern India, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya advised him to meet Ramanand Rai, declaring that there was no devotee as advanced in understanding the conjugal love of Krishna and the gopis. While touring South India, Lord Chaitanya met Ramanand Rai by the bank of Godavari. And in the long discourses, the Lord took the position of a student and Ramanand Rai instructed him. So he met Ramanand Rai by the bank of Godavari, and that is near a place called ISKCON has just built a nice temple there. Oh gosh, somehow it's not coming out. Raj Mahendri, something like that. The place is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concluded these discourses by saying, my dear Ramanand Rai, both you and I are madmen, and therefore we met intimately on an equal level. Lord Chaitanya advised Ramanand Rai to resign from his government post and come back to Jagannath Puri to live with him. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to see Maharaj Pratap Rudra because he was a king, Ramanand Rai, by a Vaishnava scheme, arranged a meeting between the Lord and the king. This is described in the Adi Lila. So we'll study that. Sri Ramanand Rai, so that place is Rajmundri in, I don't know, it comes in Andhra or Telangana, I don't know. Earlier it was Andhra Pradesh. Sri Ramanand Rai was present during the water sports of the Lord after the Rath Yatra festival. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered Sri Ramanand Rai and Sri Sanatana Goswami to be equal in their renunciation. For although Sri Ramanand Rai was a grihastha engaged in government service, and Sri Sanatana Goswami was in the renounced order of complete detachment from material activities. They were both servants of the Supreme Personality of God, who kept Krishna in the center of all their activities. Sri Ramanand Rai was one of the 3.5 personalities with whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed the most confidential topics of Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Pradyumna Mishra to learn the science of Krishna from Sri Ramanand Rai. As Subal always insisted Krishna in his dealings with Radharani in Krishna Lila, so Ramanand Rai assisted Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his feelings of separation from Krishna. Sri Ramanand Rai was the author of Jagannath Vallabh Natak. So all these wonderful devotees, why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is discussing all these devotees? Because most of them, yes, appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So just like in Vrindavan, before Krishna appeared, all the demigods had taken birth in different houses, in different families in Braj, so that they can assist in the pastimes of Krishna. So here also all the devotees, or most of them, appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to assist in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So that's why all these trunk branches, sub-branches are being mentioned, and is creating a foundation for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear. So that's why all these devotees are being mentioned, and their wonderful pastimes are described. Not in detail, but it's all right. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, you all have safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.